Hey guys, Justin here with the Satellite Phone Store, and today we're going to talk about Starlink's high performance panel. The big advantage to this is that it's super easy to set up, there are no moving parts, and it's able to handle more bandwidth. It's great for events where you have a bunch of people who need to be able to get onto a Wi-Fi router. It's good for emergency situations where you need internet anywhere in the world essentially, and high-speed internet on top of that. So let's get into what this comes with. All right, inside here we have some instructions, pretty simple instructions. We have the panel itself, which take note of this notch right here. This is really important. This is going to come up in a second. We have the wiring for the device itself, another instruction manual, not very helpful instruction manual, unfortunately. We have all the wires. These are really important. Something also to take note of is how these connectors look at the bottom here. That's going to come up later as we install this. We also have the router and the power supply for this device. That's what these are both right here. So one of these is a router and one of these is a power supply. We have these devices here, which these are just brackets. If you guys end up having this as a long-term rental and you want to set this up in like an RV, a boat, on a wall, whatever, this is a nice way to be able to place them inside these plastic pieces here. And then if we want to, we can now mount this onto a wall and easily pop it off, put it back in the case, so that if we want to be able to go and transport this around and still use it somewhere else, you can. So that's kind of handy. And then we have a bunch of mounting hardware in here just in case you guys do want to do that. And last but not least is this little puck. And I'm going to show you what this puck is for in just a moment. You guys can see the case that's provided by the Satellite Phone Store has a little hole in the top, and we have this puck that we provide as well that screws into that hole. Now if you look on our antenna here, this is actually made so that you can secure the antenna to the top of the case and have a nice mounting system. And another thing to keep in mind when we do this is that we need to have an unobstructed view of the sky, so we can't have any trees or buildings. And another very, very important thing is that this device needs to be angled towards the southern hemisphere. Right now we're in the northern hemisphere, so this needs to be angled towards the southern hemisphere, which right now in this case is that direction. So you can see there's a slight angle, and that's angled towards the southern hemisphere. Here's the thing, they did really try to make this as simple as possible, but it could be somewhat confusing on how some of these cables go together. And as you'll see, if you look really closely at these different fittings here, one of these has like a flat side and one doesn't. So it is possible that you could accidentally shove this one, for example, and try to shove it into the wrong spot, and that will cause a problem because these are not the same fittings here and it'll break the wires. So they, again, really tried to make this as easy as possible, but it could be somewhat confusing. And you can see some of these, like, see this part right here, it's pretty shallow. So obviously it's a shallow head here. This one has that flat edge, and this is gonna go into the first module here, which I'm gonna call the power module. And see, it just fits in pretty evenly there. This bigger one right here, this is a pretty long wire. This bigger one actually plugs into the antenna itself, and it goes into the bottom here. So when this angles down, it's going into that bottom section. And then again, we have a power adapter. There's two different cables here. One is for the router itself, and then one is for this power module. So there are two different ones. This one is kind of a rectangular shaped one versus this like circular one. And we're gonna put that one in here. And last, there is one more port here. This port is actually for the Ethernet cable. So if you wanted to run Ethernet directly into your computer, there is a provided cable, and that will connect to this box here. All right, then we're gonna go over to the router itself here, and this is going to plug in with that circular shaped one. So you can see that fits there. And now, last not least, but there's kind of this weirdly shaped one right here. And that one actually is made to fit into this angular part, and it's pretty long. So you'll see that it just fits in right there. So now we're gonna take this cable here, and this one will plug in. Instead of your Ethernet cable, this one will actually plug in to where that Ethernet port is over here. So this is now the Wi-Fi router right there. That plugs in right here. Oops. That's right. Boom. So now we have, rather than having an Ethernet cable, we have this to a wireless device. Okay, and then we're gonna take this all and plug it directly into one of our EcoFlows, which are provided also at the satellite phone store. So now we can be totally off grid with this nice little battery system. This will plug in, plug everything in here. And then once we plug everything in, the system should start to activate, and we're gonna go and move over to the app, and I'm gonna show you what you need to do with the app.
Using the app is only necessary if this is the first time that this unit is being set up. It should be ready to go directly from Satellite Phone Store.
Okay. I'm going to go into the App Store, and I am going to look for the Starlink app. I'm going to download that. We're going to open this up. Start setup. You can see there are a few different options here. We're going to go for this high performance flat panel. Confirm. Find a clear view of the sky. Boom. We're done. Starlink is set up. My Starlink is powered on. We're going to go to Wi-Fi settings. Go in. And we're, in this case, this one is called the SPS here. And the password is actually down here on the device itself. So this one is welcome with a capital W. 1, join. All right, now we're logged in here. We're gonna go back to the Starlink app. Starlink paired successfully. Continue. Calculating orientation. So right now it's talking to the satellites to determine which way it's pointing. It's online, and that's it. So at this point, you can see I can put this into airplane mode, and I'll be able to go into Google, satellitephonestore.com, and you can see we are grooving on here. As you guys can see, this is a really slick system. It is high performance in the sense that we can live stream with it. We can download videos. We can use the internet as you would in your office or your home, pretty much anywhere in the world. It's a very portable system. It can be mounted in an RV, on a boat, you name it, it's possible. It runs off of something small like this EcoFlow. And one last thing I want to cover before we finish with this video is that in order to shut this off, it's actually pretty easy. You just need to unplug it. But before you do, you need to make sure that this thing isn't doing any updates. So look on the app, you'll see actually it was just updating on here. You want to see that it's not doing any automatic updates. If it is, let it finish its update and then you can unplug it. You don't want to do it in the middle of an update because it's possible you might mess up the system. So once it's done with that, then go ahead and unplug it and enjoy this awesome Starlink system. If you'd like to learn more about it, please visit satellitephonestore.com or sat123.com.